All righty. I'm going to follow up a little bit from Brother Stefan's prayer for you last night, and I'm calling today's, what do I need? So we'll poke around at that. I'll just quickly review our terminology. You practice meditation and stuff, so there's a little story. A Western reporter goes to a Zen monastery over in the East, and the master invites him to join their group, and he watches, and they gong a gong and ring some bells and chant some chants, and then sits silence, and eventually everyone just kind of gets up and wanders away one by one. So he's a little puzzled. There was no direction, there was no teaching, no instructions. He says, well, Master, I watched you praying. What did you experience? And the master chuckles and he says, you didn't see praying, you watched us getting ready to pray. How we live the rest of the day is our prayer. So, in that sense, mindfulness as a topic is the practicing, using it to observe ourselves behind every thought and decision and action all day long is the real mindfulness. So what we talk about it isn't it, but it helps us to remember to go to that place where we can observe ourselves. And so I always start with, I can see what I'm thinking, I can feel what my emotions are feeling, I can feel my body senses and my body urges, but who am I that can see those things, that can observe? So we'll take just a moment and use on that, where is that in me? And of course, looking for it puts it completely out of sight, but good luck. Okay. I always like to talk about peace. Coming to realize more and more in all topics that our words are often more troublesome than they are helpful. Because what I mean by peace is my idea. What you think peace means is your idea, and then you're wondering what I mean by it, and I'm wondering what you mean by it, and words are very much a barrier sometimes. So I just want to share a thought about peace. I used the example maybe last week. I had to cut a tree that was lifting our house off the foundation. It's a huge tree, and its roots were lifting the end of the house. So I'm up there 70 feet with my ropes and a chainsaw, and my body is afraid of heights. I'm not, but it starts to shake when I get up high. So here I am with a chainsaw 70 feet in the air, and my body's just shaking, and I can feel the anxiety in the body coming up. But I was at peace, because behind it I can see, oh yeah, here I am, I'm doing this fear thing, and my body's very upset, and I hope my arms don't go limp and drop that chainsaw on my leg. But it's really being in the state of awareness, what I often refer to as peace. It doesn't mean everything in the construct is being peaceful at the moment, but I'm aware, oh, I'm anxious, I'm afraid, I'm upset. To me, that peace includes everything, because the place we look at it from, the observer, it itself is in peace. It's like, oh yeah, this is crazy. Look at what you're doing now. Look what your emotions are doing now. And your body's shaking and whatever. So it's, when I say peace, it's not about the Om in the cave meditating image that some people have for the word peace. It's not just social justice peace, although awareness would bring us to that. It's the state of the observer in us is always at peace. And a few other characteristics I've noticed are, it's always curious. Like, who are you? What's happening for you? What's going on here? Wonder how this is going to go. It's a lightweight curiosity, not wanting an answer, just an open curiosity with no expectation to bring that in. It sees in beauty. It's fascinated with, nature often brings it out in us, but it can be with another person. You just suddenly see the beauty of that soul, that being. It can be with your puppy dog or chickens, but that sense of beauty is in the observer. And also a great sense of love, which may not be emotional at all. It's a different kind of love for me. It's just, I respect and appreciate who you are or what is in the world. And it's accompanied with a feeling that I consider a key to identifying this awareness in myself. And that key is, I wish you well. Even Donald Trump, I wish you well. A nice padded cell, with, but when I can remember one of those keys, I can look at myself and say, all right, what am I doing? I'm caught in my thoughts and my emotions, and I'm hungry. Where's that space of my observer? And mindfulness is about returning to that observer state while all the other is going on. We practice meditation and stillness and silence to retrain our mind, the brain, to be quieter. So it's not running me, but I am using it as I choose to. But that practice is purely for that sake. It's not what mindfulness is. I have found that over these years, I started when I was 37, 40 years, that now my observer is on almost all the time. I still get ripped into an emotional tirade now and then, but almost all the time. And I can see what I'm thinking, feeling, my body. And yet the body still does what it does, and my brain still goes off on rants, and my emotions still swirl. So mindfulness is about developing our observer, because 95% of our life living is unconscious. Probably always will be. It's all the programs, it's the genetics, the instincts, the hormones, pheromones, all kinds of stuff going on that lead me to want to react in a certain way. But the observer can see, oh, I want to react this way. I want to be angry. I want to go after that good thing. Whatever, the observer is my awareness. And I can see, all right, here comes another reaction. Funny, I haven't seen that one before. Oh, that one again. Whatever. But mindfulness is being aware of the choice I'm going to make this second. What am I going to say? What am I going to do? Am I going to let my brain go off on that train of thinking? I've thought about this 10,000 times, and I sit and spin in this circle. Oh, all right, brain, we thought of that through one time. Tomorrow we'll take another moment and think it through again. Now, what do I want to do with today? So that's how we use mindfulness in daily living. To bring us back to that place where we look with wonder and beauty, joy and compassion, wishing well, and then every second we're making a decision what to do next. And I use my awareness to be aware. All right, what am I going to decide here? What am I deciding? And to give it a yay or nay. So to kind of roll that into what do I need, we're going to turn our awareness to our own deeper self. Let's say, you could say our soul, who knows? Where do my desires come from? You know, I like to do little things like burn a wood plaque or make the new chicken water thing, and I like to do that. I don't have to question that I like to do that. It's just, in the moment though, I might have to ask, what do I want to do here? Or what do I need in this moment? Because I have approximately 15 projects queued up at the moment that I could get to. And mindfulness would use the awareness to say, all right, let's just take a moment. Got all these projects queued up. I'm going to pick one and proceed with it. And now I'm making a decision. And that eliminates that swirl that we can get. And that swirl can happen if somebody says something. It brings up reactions, and I feel all these multiple possibilities of how I might want to react to that. And if I get still and say, how do I want to respond to it? I'm looking for what I need for my life to express this instant. So it's weird to the brain. The brain wants a plan, you know, so I'll know what I'm doing 40 years from now and how I'm going to be. Well, you just learn to laugh, you know. There's the old saying, if you want to make God laugh, tell him you have a plan. The thing is, that plan requires me to do something right now. I can possibly waste now thinking about that plan. What am I going to do next year? Or maybe there is something I can look at something on the internet or make a phone call or go do something, but it's always bringing my future, what do I need, what do I want, back to right now. So, okay, what do I need or want? It's worth spending time on that. And I'll just address Chad a little bit, if you don't mind too much, Chad. You are a very healthy helper person. It's a beautiful part of your nature. And as Brother Stefan suggested, but look at what you need. And there's a reason for that, to make you a better helper. Because when I know what I need, all right, I can be a computer programmer, I can be a construction worker, I can be a therapist, I can be a chicken farmer. Once I discern what it is that my soul wants to do, that soul want and need to me are the same thing, then I can begin to direct my thinking and decisions and actions and time into that very happily. And I will be the most helpful programmer or builder or chicken farmer or therapist because I'm 100% in with myself. But at this stage of my life, if somebody said, oh, help me out and write a program for me, it would put me in much stress. I would not even maybe be able to do it, and if I did do it, it would be a crappy job. I would not be being helpful with my life stream to try to do that, just because somebody said, I need help with this. I might say, well, go call Chad, he likes the program, whatever, whoever I know. But applying this self-observation in the moment to our future plans and discovering where do I really want to go? And then that's where we can just sink below this talking and all this noise. Because when I take time and just get still to feel me, at first anyway, there aren't any thoughts. And there's not even identifiable emotions. I just, kind of an energy comes up, like it's life wanting to come out and expand and flow. And I just ask it, what do you want to do? Who am I in that feeling? Because if I don't examine that space where these things come up from, they're going to keep trying to come up, and it's going to make me agitated all the time because there's something stirring and I don't know what it is, and I'm trying to fit all these different things. Is it this? Is it that? Can I make it work with? What I'm offering today is take a lot of time in the background while you're feeding chickens or cooking supper or whatever. What does that want? What is that? And it may take a while. It may take months. I don't know. But suddenly for me, a thought will rise out of that vague feeling of something. I want something. And it'll be like, oh, I'm going to start doing this now. Or I'm going to pursue that now. And that's where we find a peace with our soul, I believe. It has feelings and depths of understanding that we have no clue what it wants, what it needs, how to do it. But you can feel that space. Sometimes people will talk about feeling empty or lonely, and I think they're touching that space. There's something else that wants to come out and express or live. And the trick is accepting, I don't know, and I don't understand it, but I can begin to trust it. And it will lead me in time to develop new interest, new curiosity, new decisions of which way I want my life to go. So just offering that as a friendly send-off idea for you personally, that it applies to all of us all the time too. And to wrap up this portion of it, Ms. Anna had mentioned expectations earlier in the conversation. And that's a basic Zen item to be addressed. They say get rid of your expectations. You only ever feel hurt, get angry, or are disappointed because you put an expectation out and reality went different than how you wanted it to go. So an expectation is a want. It may be a very mental judgment. I expect they're going to be a jerk again because they were a jerk last time I met them. But it's still, I'm wanting to see them be that way. It's like a wanting outside of me. I want the universe to behave like this, and damn, it better. And that's what I add when I say I expect, is it better act the way I want it to. You know, like we're all in the egos, we're all mini gods. We all think it should be how I want it. Well, I mean, behind that is those desires that we want to express, but the outer is not going to conform to them. As we begin to express them, we will in fact shape the outer in our vicinity. But it is what it is. The very fundamental of Zen, accepting what is. And then I watch my expectations. So I have a dream. I'm going to be Superman or whatever that comes up. I have these. That's fine. I believe dreams are how our soul uses us to express itself. But watch for the expectations we paste on them. When I had my little retreat center back in Erie, I had all kinds of dreams and expectations for it. And it never became any of those things. But yet, there were person after person that would come and stay there for some months or a year or two, and I watched lives change. And, you know, it served my sole purpose. It was doing what I wanted it to do. But my brain had expectations. Well, it should be more. It should be better. It should be faster. All this, which constantly got in my way. So, just to use mindfulness, awareness, expectations are something I paste on my dream, and it screws them up. It always will. I don't expect it. I feed and water the chickens every day. I hope they grow and live well. But I don't expect that they're all going to live forever. You know, it's like, it's tied to attachment, you also mentioned. I will do what I feel my soul wants to do. I will respond from that space instead of reacting to do it. And then we'll see what happens. And the dream, my visions, ideals even, will constantly guide my expression. But it's very rude to realize it, they do not guarantee the outcome of that desire the way I think it might be expressed long run. It merely gives me this moment. Oh, there's that feeling, my good idea. What do I want to do right now in that good idea? All right, enough of my jabbering. Thoughts?
I'd like to comment on the Enneagram, and you know how Brother Stefan said 2, 3, 4 is the heart space, and the old me would be almost like a 2, wanting to help and self-sacrificing and just get rid of any emotional feeling because the heart's closed off basically. And throughout the years, it took a lot of time to get back into the heart and really pausing and asking myself, do I want this? Is this serving me? Is my heart fulfilled, or my mind is being fulfilled? Is my ego being fulfilled? So that's the 2 distinctions I asked myself, which helped me get out of that helper mode, like the negative side of it, and into my own heart, which basically took a lot of, it took some time.
Yeah.
But what you mentioned earlier, saying with expectations, you said all there is just now, and what little steps can I take instead of pasting that expectation into outcome. Kind of like, if I do this for this person, and then this will happen, and then this will unravel, and then I will, it just keeps going and going and going. But it helps me stay present by just saying like, okay, all I have to do is just show up today, and then just be. Because the presence is all there is. The past, present, and future is all here now. What steps can I take now besides, because I tend to invest fully into my dreams and my vision, and I get in there, and that's where the attachment becomes. And when it doesn't happen, I get brokenhearted, and then I get hurt, and then, the whole spiral, and like, oh, it's not going to happen, and all that other stuff. But I'm learning to break free from that attachment by really just my mantras lately has been like, I just have to show up today and just focus on what needs to take action right now. Like, what do I need to take action on now? That's it. And just breathe. Oh, I gotta show up and breathe, Anna. That's it. You just exist. So that's my mantra. Just wanted to share.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But that's, yeah, thank you.
If most of us have been, if we have been strongly programmed by the system, we believe we must figure it out. We believe we're responsible to set up a good program for our life. And mindfulness really points to trusting our soul. And the best words I can find to fit that to. So yeah, just I'm going to show up, be present with the experience, and see what I want to do this moment. And the survival part of our brain will scream. It'll say, you can't live like that. You've got to make this plan and then plan all the steps to make it work. Which doesn't mean we don't make future plans. It's doing it without that hard attachment of I have to make it happen. Right. I find a trust in, I'm going to go back to college and pursue this study. I feel that's what I want to do. Okay. End of story. See how it gets there. It's like, it's not up to me to make it happen, except to do each step as it shows up on the way. Oh yeah, I better apply to the college. Okay, I'll do that. I'll fill out the form. But I mean, I'm trying to point to the difference between the I need to make it happen part of our brain, which is a survival mechanism. It's not a bad thing. Nothing in us is bad. It's just not optimal for a best life. So a large part of this awakening is learning to recognize the difference. Oh, there's my need to make it happen mind. All right, a minute mind, we'll let you look at it. What do I want to do? Okay, I want to go to school. Okay. All right, mind, what do we need to do for the details? That's what the brain does. It handles the details of the world, Oh yeah, fill out this form, make a phone call. Call my rich uncle and have him pay for it, whatever. But I'm using my mind now. I'm not letting it tell me I'm in control and we need to make it happen.
Yeah, I find that, Joe Dispenza, the spiritual teacher, he's talking about the heart and the mind coherence.
Mm-hmm.
Old Anna is just all mind, the heart was closed off, but eventually when the heart opens, you have that circuit, that infinity symbol basically, and it helps with the daily small mindful decisions, I think, and it helps to just tap into every decision has to be intentional. Is it heart-led? Is it heart-led? Is it heart-led? And I have to keep reminding myself, is this heart-led? Because I gotta keep practicing to stay out of mind. I don't want to shut it off completely, but it's like a balancing dance. It's like feminine and masculine, a union, and I think it's a union.
And I think in the end, it's all one system.
Yeah.
We've separated emotions, brain, and body, but they all are so interactive that now I just can look and just kind of feel me. And it's like, oh yeah, and there's this emotion. And these days I get emotions, I don't even know what they are. But, I'm feeling something there. And I see my brain wanting to spin and react. But yes, it's being more holistic, looking at it all instead of switching between or picking one over the other. And the heart can be misleading because it can bring up our emotions so powerfully. And the brain can love without emotions. So, but by separating them in the past, brain, logical thinking, feeling stuff in the heart, we haven't allowed them to work together. So thank you for mentioning that. being born, I was in the room watching, keeping Lisa company. It's an 18-hour process. But as she was actually being born, I think it was the first spiritual experience I ever had that I can identify. There probably were others, but I caught this one. And it was before I was doing any of this stuff consciously. But the thought came very strong and clear in my mind. I set you free. I will not live your life in fear. I set you free. So rather than like, I will protect you and it was no, I'm going to let you live your life and I'm not going to limit you with my fears. But that, it came as just this crystal clear realization out of nowhere. And that's part of what I mean by listening to our soul. When these things want to come up, if we let them, and then say, oh wow, what was that? And then maybe wonder, what part of me is that? I'd like to live more of that part of me, you know, where'd that come from? Just a fun example.
Do we share or
Yes.
meditate? Or?
No, you can do anything you want. But yes, this is, everybody just rolls now on their own with it.
You mentioned the first spiritual experience you can recall. And I think the first one that I could recall was when I was petting my dog. And I was about 7 years old. And I just had this feeling of indescribable beauty and just this love that was the response to this beauty as I just stroked his fur and just I can't really describe the feeling. It's just like this is transcendent and nobody else knows how incredible this beauty is and this feeling is. I mean, it's just like I and the dog were one, I and God were one.
And that's it. It's honoring those experiences, looking for them that maybe come up again.
Just thinking about attachments and expectations. I think I've learned to let go of those two. And around the same time, same teaching, same teacher, when I first got a clue that that was going to be a good idea. And I argued with it at first. Oh, no, you have to have a connection. You can't just let things go. I had all kinds of arguments at the time. When I finally did let myself kind of try it, you know, what is this going to feel like? And it was so free. And that's what I remember about it. I felt so free that I never wanted to go back and feel attached to anything again. I'm not saying I didn't.
Yeah.
Because the egos have other ideas. And sometimes got attached in spite of
Mhm.
what the better part of me. But, yeah. It's highly recommended.
And all these things are part of the lifelong journey. Once in a while, we reach a major shift point with certain things, and that's way cool when that happens. But overall, we said 95% unconscious of what's in here. It's a constant exploration and unfolding and growing, and learning to be at peace with that without expecting a destination or an outcome really helps to stay on this path of awakening. Because it can be very disturbing at times when you realize your whole thought system has been wrong. I used to be a capitalist. I voted for Reagan. And one day, I was like, you know, and it's called personal devastation. When those things hit. Also, with more awareness, you see more. You see the evil that's going on in this world. I used to just think all people are basically good. There's just a few bad people. Well, after I saw the last election, I had to reform that idea. You know, the majority voted for Trump. Which doesn't mean they're all bad people. They thought they were going to get something there they wanted. I understand. But I'm just saying this awareness, growth in awareness, is not a nirvana walk. It's a lot of work sometimes. It's very upsetting sometimes. It's very devastating sometimes. And that's why it's nice when we have a group, we support each other, and when one of us brings up one of those, oh my God, the others can say, it's okay, keep going, just keep going. And it's so helpful to have support, somebody you can plug in with. You know. But yeah, like the Tao said, it's a way of living. It's the way of a lifetime. Not, okay, I learned mindfulness this week, I'm good now. What am I going to learn next week, you know? Yeah.
Sometimes I really wish it was.
Yeah. No.
Sister Breed and Brother Tim, do you guys find it more, I guess, graceful with, you know, the inner learning and stuff? Do you still, like, you know, compared to the 30s and 40s, stuff that comes up, is it easier to process? Because I know you never stop learning, but, you know, compared to your 30s and 40s and 50s, does it get, I don't want to say easier, but
Not sure what you're asking.
like the old beliefs and programming,
Oh.
you know, things always come up,
Yeah.
challenges,
Yes.
becomes,
For me, it's easier to process them now. And I think I catch them sooner. But occasionally I need help. Somebody will remind me, you got a program running there. Oh my goodness. But it's easier, yes. And I'm still get very embarrassed moments of the ways I was in the 30s and 40s. It takes time to forgive. Not forgiving isn't even the right word. It's just looking at them in the right perspective.
Yeah.
I just didn't know that back
Right.
then. You know, I was raised by a patriarchal white supremacist dad. You know, and it took decades to even begin to unplug some of that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I felt like I'd always been led into to this or that or the other thing. And at some point, not very long ago, it was probably after 2014, so maybe 2015, 16, I just kind of realized one day that something had changed. And the thought that came with it was that God did something in me. I didn't feel like any of the practices or any of the things I was doing was responsible for the change. But the change was one of being more peaceful. Having an idea sooner rather than later when I was experiencing something because of someone else near me that was actually having the issue. So that I could stop and address it by going to my inner self and just asking, whatever this is. That was the main part of it, and very little fear, very little fear. Stronger intuition, lots of synchronicities was happening, and I just took it as a gift, because I am really bad at practices, prayer, meditation stuff. I'm bad at it, and I'm even worse at organizing myself, like work, study, prayer, and having a balance. No way. I'm all into something, and I'm focused, and I'm there for hours, and then I wish I hadn't. So I knew it wasn't me. I knew it wasn't. It just, I guess my intent, my desire was such that it was knowledge. I still don't know why I have these physical problems, and I guess maybe I'll never stop asking.